There have been several British 21-inch diameter torpedoes used by the Royal Navy since the first development just before the First World War. The 21-inch was the largest size of torpedo in common use in the RN. They were used by surface ships and submarines rather than aircraft which used smaller 18-inch torpedoes. 21-inch Mark I. The first British 21-inch torpedo came in two lengths, short at 17 feet (10.5 in) and long at 23 feet (1.25 in). The explosive charge was 200 pounds of gun cotton, increased later to 225 pounds. 21-inch Mark II. The Mark II, chiefly used by destroyers, entered service in 1914. Apart from some older British ships, it was used with the old US Crown-class destroyers provided to the UK during the early part of the Second World War. The running speed was reduced from 45 knots for better reliability. The Mark II *, an improved Mark II, was used by battleships and battlecruisers. A wet-heated design, it could run for 4.1 kilometers at 45 knots. 21-inch Mark IV. From 1912, used by destroyers and other surface ships and was an important weapon in the First World War. In the Second World War they were carried on HMS Hood. 21-inch Mark V. The Mark V was used by the A and B class destroyers and, with modification, by the Kent-class heavy cruisers. 21-inch Mark VII. The Mark VII was issued for use on the British heavy cruisers, i.e. cruisers with 8-inch guns. Designed in the mid-1920s, the County-class cruisers were built at the same time in the post-Washington Naval Treaty period. The power came from the use of oxygen-enriched air, though torpedo stocks were converted to run on normal air at the start of the Second World War. 21-inch Mark VIII. Specifications: Mark VIII entered service 1927. Weight 3,452 pounds. Length 259 inches. Explosive charge 750 pounds TNT. Range and amp speed 5,000 yards 40 knots. Early Mark VIII ** range and amp speed 5,000 yards 45.6 knots. Explosive charge 722 pounds Torpex. Late Mark VIII ** range and amp speed 7,000 yards 41 knots. Explosive charge 805 pounds Torpex. The Mark VIII was designed around 1925 and was the first British burner cycle design torpedo. It was used from 1927 on submarines of the O-class onwards and motor torpedo boats. The principal World War II version was the improved Mark VIII ** 3,732, being fired by September 1944. The torpedo was still in service with the Royal Navy as late as 1983, and with the Royal Norwegian Navy until 1993. The Mark VIII ** was used in two particularly notable incidents. On the 9th of February 1945, the Royal Navy submarine HMS Venture sank the German submarine U-864 with 4 Mark VIII ** torpedoes. This is the only intentional wartime sinking of one submarine by another while both were submerged. On the 2nd of May 1982, the Royal Navy submarine HMS Conqueror sank the Argentine cruiser General Belgrano with 3 Mark VIII ** torpedoes during the Falklands War. This is the only sinking of a surface ship by a nuclear-powered submarine in wartime. 21-inch Mark IX. First appeared in 1930 and was considerably improved by 1939. used on Leander and later cruisers, and later destroyer classes, also replaced the old Mark 7 in some 8" cruisers during the war. 21" Mark 10, from 1939, used by submarines, motor torpedo boats and destroyers. 21" Mark 11, electric battery-powered torpedo with a 322 kg TNT warhead. Entering service during the Second World War, it was used by destroyers. 21" Mark Chapter 12, codenamed First Ferry, then Fancy. The Mark Chapter 12 never reached production. From 1952, a warhead of 340 kg Torpex, powered by high-test peroxide, giving it a speed of 28 knots for 5 kilometers. There were accidents during testing caused by the unstable nature of HTP. One such engine explosion, after loading on the submarine HMS Sidon, caused enough damage to have the submarine taken permanently out of service. Mark Chapter 12 torpedoes were out of service in 1959 and the program was cancelled. 21" Mark Chapter 20 Bidder, developed under the codename Bidder. The Mark Chapter 20 was a passive seeker battery-powered torpedo for use by surface ships and submarines. The E variant was not long in service due to problems with its programming. This led to several of frigates intended to use them never being fitted with torpedo tubes or having them removed. It was replaced in the submarine service in the 1980s by Tigerfish. 21" Mark Chapter 21 Pentane, a project for an autonomous active passive sonar torpedo to be carried by the short sturgeon anti-submarine aircraft. It was cancelled after protracted work, but the Seeker development was used in Tigerfish. 21" Mark Chapter 22, a wire-guided version of the Mark Chapter 20 produced by Vickers Shipbuilding and Engineering as a private venture. 21" Mark Chapter 23 Grog, a wire-guided version of the Mark Chapter 20. Entered service in the 1971, although already obsolescent, serving only as an interim before Tigerfish entered service. The Mk-23 was fitted with a 10,000 m outboard dispenser that contains a control wire to guide the weapon. During 1973, all of the RN torpedoes had to be taken out of service as the control system was failing at extreme range. After months of investigation, it was discovered that the fault lay in the guidance unit made by GEC. A germanium diode in the AGC circuit had been replaced by a silicon diode. Following an instruction by RN stores that all germanium diodes had to be replaced by silicon diodes. Unfortunately, the silicon diodes' different characteristics caused the automatic gain control circuit to fail. Once the mistake was found, replacing the diode with the original type cured the problem. Mark Chapter 24 Tigerfish. The first Tigerfish entered service in 1980. Tigerfish was removed from service in 2004. There were several models of Tigerfish due to the modifications made to tackle deficiencies. Mark Chapter 24 Mod 0 Tigerfish. Mark Chapter 24 Mod 1 Tigerfish. Mark Chapter 24 Tigerfish. Mark Chapter 24 Mod 2 Tigerfish. Spearfish.